You've reached Monster 911, and I'm Lance Hightower. I've been taking cryptid emergency calls for over 5 years. If you have a cryptid emergency, please call our toll-free number, 866-306-8085. I can help you. What's your emergency? Start anywhere you want. It's kind of like we're having a conversation on a porch and just visiting.
Okay, sure. That sounds great.
And so...
And the same thing with myself. I learned just something recently from one of your shows. You talking about the color of the hair or fur, whatever, and it struck a resemblance to what I had seen that day. And as we get along, I'll explain that part.
Yes,
okay?
Please. And you can start anywhere you would like.
Yeah, because it's over 3 days, the encounter. I've seen it three days in a row at the same place, exact same place. So
okay.
All right. So I will, I'll give you a rough, rough start, whatever, along the way, and then more into the actual encounters. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So it started. I live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So at the time it was 1997. Let's see, June and July, and I was having trouble breathing, bronchial asthma here in the big city. So I went to live with friends in a small town called just west of Toronto, about 30, 40 miles away. Okay, you can look it up on a map afterwards.
Okay.
So I was staying with friends. I was having trouble with depression at the time and a bleeding ulcer, duodenal ulcer. Right. So I ended up in the hospital. I blew my guts. Whatever. I tore my esophagus when I violently puked at the same time, and I was in the hospital for about 10 days. So I got out, and I went back. I stayed with my mom for a few days, and then went back to live in the small town. But I was in rough shape. I had a blood transfusion. I lost half of my blood or something, and so I was in rough shape. So I'm just giving you the description of the state I was in, physical state.
Sure.
I was 6 foot tall, 250 pounds, in a muscular frame. Okay, so. But I was in rough shape. I couldn't bend down to tie my shoes. My stomach area was just intense pain after I got out of the hospital. All right, and that leads to part of the story. Okay, it's very important to remember this part. Okay, so I was staying with friends and recuperating. Basically, I couldn't even drive. Every bump I felt, it just killed me. So I brought my mountain bike, and I wanted to just try and get, slowly back, build up some, my health back up and help with, tighten some things up and all that, and slowly get, my health back in order. So after a couple of days, I asked them, I asked my friends, where was a safe place to go and, mountain bike where I'm not going to be, that's quiet, deserted, not going to be harassed by anyone or whatever. I just wanted to just be by myself really or whatever. And they told me there was a rock quarry, an old rock quarry. And so it was on a Sunday. I went in the car and we were going to a major hardware store. So they showed me, said it's along the route. Come with us and we'll show you where it is. And they pointed down a pathway which led to this mountain bike course. Okay, so but while in the car, as we were nearing this place and passing it, I was having a major. I was sitting in the back seat, passenger side, and I'm having a major premonition. I started vibrating. I'm going, oh my gosh. okay, here we go again. Something's going to happen, right? So I was like, I knew like I was in for something, but I didn't know what at the time, right? And same thing back on the way back. I felt that same premonition, body vibration thing going on. All right, so next thing, it's Monday, so I get on my bike slowly, whatever, and head out there. It was about a half-hour bike ride, but it took me an hour. I felt every bump in the sidewalk, crack, all the every little bump. I was feeling it. I had to stop a few times because of the pain. It was that intense. So I finally make it to the park, right? And the pathway there. The pathway was at least 50, 75 yards at least, but it was all like rocks, boulders. You couldn't drive a car. It was like big boulders, like they had purposely laid the pathway with boulders, the entire length of it. So you couldn't even ride your mountain bike. You had to walk it in, okay?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this part was important. So I finally get into the park, right? I see two guys in the one section there. One section of the park, they're whatever they're doing, working on the course or riding on it. It was a difficult section. There was two sections. There was an easy section on the right-hand side when you enter the park. It was a little parquet. So entered. There was an easy course with a treat easy course with some little mountain bike sort of stuff, little ramps and nothing hard, And then in the middle was like a park, like grass and open space, right? And then say about 40, 50 feet before you entered the difficult section. All right, treat area with a back lot, more heavier woods, whatever, and like so the difficult section, and there was also like the course was like as you entered, like near the front of the tree line, and then there was a back lot too to it. All right. Okay, and on the easy section there was a cliff face about over 200 feet tall, okay? And I remember getting a weird feeling like something's there. I looked up looking for little cave entrances or something, and I looked like 3-4 times. And it was a strong presence, but I couldn't see anything on the cliff face.
Okay.
Not once, and this went on for a couple of days. There was always a strong presence there on the cliff face, but I could never ever see anything up there. Okay, all right. So so then, I was working on the easy section. First I walked in, whatever. Just had it easy going, whatever. Just really light. I said, like, checking it out, sort of walking the course for sort of like just to get a feel of it before I got on my bike.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. So, and I met, the two guys came over who told me they were in charge of the place, right? Designed the course and that. And, stayed, partied with them for, whatever, for about an hour or two. I guess we smoked a joint or two with them, and then whatever, chit-chatted, and they went off on their own way. But the one guy was giving me a weird feeling. I don't know why, but that's it.
Oh, really?
Right? Yeah, I'm not joking. The one guy, was giving me a weird feeling, right? So they never returned to the park. So the next, that was Monday. So Tuesday, I'm there. It took me, like I said, half an hour this time, roughly, a little over half an hour to get there. And I'm telling you, I stopped a few times along the way on the going down. It was like the street was just a straightaway from where I lived. Straight ride, just one street. Okay, all the way down, and then to the pathway down towards the Lake Ontario, where the parquet was, right on the north shore of Lake Ontario. And Okay, so then, like I said, going there, I was, I'm not innocent. I had to take some medication, pain medication and that, right, to even attempt all this, which I was prescribed from the hospital. And I had to stop a few times. Okay, this is what, Monday, Tuesday. A couple times the pain was so intense. I pretty well had tears in my eyes a couple times from the pain. Okay, but I was determined. I'm one of those guys determined. Go forward. I got to do this. Yeah, I had to do this. Get my health back in order. So I make it down to the park, right? Look around. It took about a 10-minute break to catch my breath. So I started attempting the course slow on my mountain bike. I'm going through the course. I did. I'm trying to remember now. It was 25 years, so I don't think I made one pass of the park yet, like through the course, right? I think actually I did. I made one pass through, right? There was nobody there, okay? And then so on my second pass through the easy section, I said, okay, I'll try this little jump, this little ramp thing, a couple inches. But my tire missed and hit the ground, even though it was only 3 inches. I was bowled over in pain, right? And I was making a ton of noise, like wounded animal noises, I guess, right? Right. Okay, that's important. Okay, I was making a ton of wounded animal noises, right? And and I noticed my shoes untied. So I literally, I went about another 20 feet maybe and had stopped. And right to tie my shoe and catch my breath and let the pain subside a bit. Well, I'm still making the odd ooh type of noises, right? Like intense pain from my midsection where I tore whatever. Let's see. So what happened was I brought the left side pedal up so I could reach down. Very slowly reach down and gingerly try and tie my shoe. I could not bend down to the ground, towards the ground. Okay. So I used the pedal so my foot was elevated up in the air, right?
Right.
So I could tie it. So I'm hunched over, and I'm down. It was like pain was just searing right through my body. So I'm struggling to tie my shoe, right? And my Nike shoes, they're running shoes. So as I'm doing this, right, I see I'm facing bent forward, so I could see forward as I'm tying my shoe, as I'm hunched over near the handlebars and my head. So I look, I see something now running towards on the beachhead, right? It was all gravel, like big, not like the boulders on the pathway, but like fist-sized rocks, right? Covered about a 6-foot section of the from the edge of the water to the beach. There, it was about a 6-foot pathway I seen, right? It was all covered in rocks, right? Like everywhere. It wasn't a sandy beach. It was all rocks, but like fist-sized, packed and deep. And I see someone running towards me on these rocks, like full out, like 20, 25 miles an hour on these rocks. And I said, well, oh my God. I said, they better be careful. They're going to break a leg.
Right.
Or snap an ankle, right? That's what my first thought was, right? And then this is while I'm hunched over, and it's coming closer, and it goes running past the rocky shore onto the parkland. And as it's getting closer, I'm looking, I'm going, like, to me, my first impression was it was a vagrant or some kind of guy. It looked like a person about 6 foot, 6'1" or 2 max, right? Lanky sort of, right? Running with their arms dangling down their sides, right?
Right.
And I'm like, Right. And I go, what's going on here? Like, I'm still hunched over my bike. I just had finished tying, and all of a sudden, I'm looking right at this thing. It's getting closer, and now it's on the parkland area, right? And it's the parkland coming, making a beeline for me, and I'm like, what the heck? I stand up, right? All of a sudden, I make eye contact, and oh my God, I'm going, what is this thing? It's got a, I swear, it's got a wolf's head, right? Not super large, but a wolf's head with ears pinned back, like, on the side.
Yeah.
On top.
Right.
Right. And this is like, like 3 p.m, roughly. So I'm like, so as soon as I stood up and made direct eye contact, had to be at least 100 feet away, okay? And not even, about 100 feet away. And all of a sudden, it realizes, like, I'm standing, it veers off. Like, just picture like a fish hook. You know how a fish hook has that bend?
Yes. Yes.
A single fish hook, right?
Right.
It does the exact type of movement. This sort of like, curves in, like, exactly like the shape of, like, like a fish hook, through the curve up and veers off into the back tree line. Okay? And I'm like, what did I just see? Right? I'm like, wow. I'm like, what is that? And I wasn't, like, I'm telling you, it was something, the fur or the hair, whatever it was, I swear it looked like clothes, okay? It had, like, I heard you on your show the other day talking about the different colors. So it was like like a darker brown on the bottom, and on the top was like more like a golden or tan, like a goldy tan sort of color, with a white belly area, like chest area, right?
Okay.
From the waist up to the neck area, it looked like a shirt, right? And clothes, and I'm like, I don't know why. It really looked like clothes, and I had a hard time discerning that the first time I seen it, if it was clothes or not.
Right.
And I just didn't understand why it had the wolf's head, but I seen it. Now, previously, I had a few Bigfoot, Sasquatch encounters previous years before that and stuff, and so I knew, creatures existed. All right, okay, so I wasn't in total shock and freaked out over seeing something like that. Okay, but I never ever seen a wolf's head on a body before, on a bipedal body running towards me. Okay, and this was on Tuesday. So it went into the back tree line, and so I stayed and slowly managed to go through the course about 4 times, right, over the next 2 hours. And between every now and then I would stop and look over and would see it mingling in the back tree line, back and forth, right, walking back and forth, all right. And as I got closer to the hard part, the difficult part of the course, that's where I would look, and it was about, let's say about 200 feet at first. That's where it was hiding in the back. I could view it, and it was always just walking back and forth. Look, with its head down most of the time, like it was looking for something on the ground, right? And I would stop in this one spot and view it for about a few minutes, right? And then go on my way back through the course. I don't ask. It was like, live and let live sort of things. And I guess my curiosity got the better of me or something. Why I didn't flee, I could not tell you. But so I managed to see it a few times, all right?
Okay.
And, all right, that was like the first day, right? Nothing happened. Like, it never made an attempt to come towards me after that or anything like that. So that's why I went through the course 4 times, right? After, like, each time, viewing it, stopping at the same spot, having a quick look at it, right? It always showed like it had no interest in me, right?
Right.
Or pretending it had no interest in me.
There you go. Right.
Right. I think it was a bit more cunning than I realized at the time. Right. It was. So that was like Tuesday. So, all right. Right. So, like I said, the first day, Monday, after those guys had left, like I said, I got a weird feeling off the one guy, right? And then after, I had the strange sensation, like, I could sense something was there watching me, right? From the cliff face, right? And not really from the woods or anything. I didn't sense anything there, only from the cliff face, but I could never ever see anything there. So that was the first. So that was a Tuesday. So I started Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Okay, that was Tuesday. All right, I went home. I tried to tell my friend that I was staying with, this, that, whatever. They got intoxicated, so I just said, forget that. Maybe some other time, right?
Right.
Right. I didn't want to be ridiculed or anything like that.
Right.
That was important. Okay. I did not feel like being ridiculed at what I seen. Okay. And I said, I know I seen something that day. Okay. So Tuesday, same thing. Arduous adventure to get there. A little better this time. Right. Still hurting. And same thing. The creature was already there when I got there on Wednesday, all right? When I got in the afternoon to the park, somewhere, around between 2, 3, and stayed for a couple hours. Same thing, I went through the course a few times from easy, and same thing, feeling like I'm being watched from the cliff face. I'm looking up, I went right up to the cliff face, and that, trying to judge its height. I said it's got to be as big as my mom's condo building or taller. But I really had the weird sensation that something's really there, but just couldn't see anything.
Okay.
All right. So same thing. I'm now, like I said, on the first day, Tuesday, right? The thing was about 200 feet away from me in the backwoods, okay? Well, this day, it was about half the distance, 90, 100 feet, when I stopped at the backwoods, the difficult part of the course. In this one section, I had like an open view towards the back. So now it had moved up closer, 100 feet closer to where I would stop, okay? You understand that part?
Yeah, and it wasn't trying to hide from you necessarily.
No, it was not. Never tried to hide at all from me.
Wow.
Okay, and it would just, casually mill around, whatever. I can't remember if it went down on all fours, but I never ever seen a tail. I don't think. Okay, but like I said, I realized after that it was fur and not clothes, right?
Right.
Right. So, but I could never see a tail. I don't recall seeing a tail. Right. I did look, but I don't recall seeing a tail. And I think it was holding a bag or some kind of bag in its right hand. And I remember when it came towards me the first day, Tuesday, when it had its arms dangling down by its side. Right, they weren't swinging; they were just dangling there as it ran, and I could see the long fingers with the nails. Right, but the nails were like they weren't like sharp claws; they were more like what do you call them? Like spade, sort of like a spade. You dig the like a gardener would dig in the ground. A spade shape with a point there.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, that sort of style on the nails, right?
Right.
Pardon me?
No, I'm just agreeing with you. Right.
Right. Yeah, so that it didn't have any long. They were only about maybe 2 inches. I'm trying to figure here, about 2 inches long on the edge of these long fingers, right? And these flat, sort of like spade shape. Sort of. I could see that. All right. So okay. So I wanted to throw that in. And the feet, I couldn't really tell. I was more looking at the face mostly,
Mm-hmm.
And right, and it had a shorter snout instead of a long. Like I said, it wasn't no big, massive bullhead or anything. It was more like a husky shaped type head, That sort of style?
Right. Kind of stocky.
Right. Yeah, and it was like I said, and the ears were tapered back on the side, right, about 3 inches long.
Okay.
All right. So it looked more like streamlined in the head. So, all right.
Did it?
So like I said,
what color was it? What color was the? You told me that it was a white on the belly.
On its chest was white with like a gold or tan colored, like towards the outer parts of the chest and arms. Right. In neck area was while the from the waist down it was like a more of a darker brown.
Okay.
So it was multicolored, all right. So
and you said there was
darker brown on the bottom half, lighter brown golden color sort of on the upper half.
Okay. And you said it was carrying something?
It looked like it was carrying a shopping bag or something there in its right hand, sort of like the one day there, like it was, has a shopping bag or something. So kind of like I don't think it was paper. It looked more like plastic or something, but I couldn't tell from the distance. But like a large shopping bag sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know where I got it from or when I wasn't going up closer.
Sure.
Right? But I did see it walking around, like, it was pacing back and forth. It would go like, maybe 10, 20 feet max and pace back and forth with its head down, like it was looking for something. Every time it was like it was looking for something on the ground, like it lost something or something, Like somebody's looking. Yeah, I'm not sure, that's for sure. Right? Maybe it was a ruse,
It just did, but
sizing me up or something,
Yeah, but it didn't. I mean, it wasn't really directly looking at you. It was looking at the ground, more or less. It just it didn't even care.
Once or twice I seen it, like from a distance when I was in the easy section. It glanced over and looked towards my way, checking on me as I'm checking on him,
Right.
It was a male. So, but I could not see any genitalia or anything like that when it ran towards me. But it did have, it did look like a male.
Okay.
That's what I sensed.
Okay.
Okay. Next. Okay. Like I said, as I stopped in the one section there, in the difficult section, where it was attached to the backwoods where this creature was milling about, like I said, it had moved 100 feet closer, right? And I'm like, wow, that's pretty, that's a big distance it moved up.
Sure.
Because, like I said, on the first day, it had made, it had curved around and made a beat back towards the backwoods there for safety and for protection, I guess, or whatever, and to, and to see what I'm going to do, I guess. Whatever,
sure.
Right?
Sure.
So, and I was surprised that I didn't expect to see it again on the second day, like, on the Wednesday when I went back, right? This is the exact, next day. So, around the same time in the afternoon. So,
and once again, it's walking on two legs.
It's walking on two legs. I don't remember if it ever went down on the four legs or not. It's like one of those, you got to do a memory recall one day.
Sure.
And figure that out. I can't remember if it did or not. So I'm just going to say for now it just was on the two legs, right? And like I said, and I did look for a tail, but I never seen a tail on it that I thought I could make out, right? I'm not 100% positive, but I did not see a tail. And I viewed this creature multiple times, right? Okay, so I made it through, and every time, I was cautious. As when I stopped on the trail there where I would get off, I would always, as I exited that part into the clearing for the difficult section, I would always be, looking over my right shoulder to make sure it wasn't charging at me or anything like that. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Till I get to the clearing, yeah. And then I look back when I got a chance to be able to view it. It was still back there. It made no attempt, or it made no attempt to rush me or anything on those 2 days, other than the first time when it came at me and I stood up. and was surprised to see. I think it was trying to flank me or something on that first day, trying to get behind me, but I caught it in the act, and so it veered off.
Interesting.
So, yes. So then I went home. I didn't say anything to anyone. I decided to keep this to myself.
Okay.
Right. So on the third day, this is a Thursday now. All right. So at first it was, like I said, first 200, then 90 feet. It got closer to me. Right. So now the third day, I'm going through. I feel a little better. Actually, I had gained some strength over those 2 days of, working out, trying to get better on the trail and exercising with the bike. So I had gained a bit of strength, and the pain had subsided a little bit.
Okay.
So, all right, but I was still hurting big time. So let's see. So the third day, I said I'm going through the course, and this time, I get before I even entered the park that day, at the top of the trailway, I just knew something was going to be different on this day. Like inside feeling.
Oh yeah.
So then again, all right. So I entered. From my strategic point, I could look over into the backwoods, and there it was. It had moved up closer. Actually. It had moved up closer, so I'm like, what's it doing, right? So as I got to the difficult section, right, I seen it moving closer, right? This time it actually I watched it from the easy section move up closer, and I said, whoa, it's never done that before, right? And there was no bag this time.
Okay.
All right. On this day, Thursday, there was no bag in its hand. Right, so as I moved closer to the difficult section, I stopped. Now, like I said, it was about 60 feet, and then on the first pass, and then on the second pass when I went through, it now was about no more than 30 feet away, crouched behind a bush, a shrub, or whatever it was, right?
Okay.
But it was all right. Let's say 30, 25 feet away behind a shrub in direct line with me, right? So I looked really hard to try and see its hands or its feet, and it was purposely hiding them behind the shrub. All I could see was the full face, the head, the face, looking directly at me, right? With the eyes were really deep green, electric green, like really, really deep electric,
like an emerald.
They weren't glowing, but they were like really, really deep green, almost plugged in, sort of, like you could really see the green.
Okay.
And with let's see, and the back part of the eye was a yellow tinge. Okay. Right, green eye with a yellow tinge in the back corner. All right.
Oh wow.
Yes. Like you ever? It's hard to trying to figure out. I don't know how to explain it or any picture I've ever seen. Yeah, instead of yellow, the yellow was right deep in the corner. You could see the yellow, right? The tinge, sort of, with the veins sort of cracks in the yellow there. Leading into the edge of the green.
Right.
There, right, okay, but it was a full green eye, okay, with the only in the upper, not the lower towards the snout, but towards the ears, it was only had the yellow tinge. Whereas the front part of the eye, there was no yellow tinge. It was just the green, and only the yellow tinge was in the back, the back part of the eye, closer to the ear, okay?
Gotcha. So there was no white that you could see.
No white at all. Just green and yellow tinge.
Green and yellow.
Around the third of the back, like about a quarter of the eye, the back, only right at the edge of the eyeball.
Right. Right.
Right? Okay. And that was important, all right? So I remember that clearly. I stared at that. So it stayed there, right? Didn't make a move. It was watching me. I'm watching it, right? I made one pass there when it was at that section 30 feet in front of me, 30, 25 feet away. Right? And it made no attempt to hide its head. I looked right at it. It was looking right at me. Okay? We're studying each other, sort of. Okay? So I watched. I had my head turned as I leave, right? And make one more pass through and stop again, right?
Right.
Stop again in the exact same spot. I get off my bike. Okay? This time, usually I just straddle the bike, right?
Correct.
Right? When I stopped every time. And this time, when I stopped, I looked down and I see my footprints. I said, on the ground, right? In the dirt. I seen my footprints from all the different days. I said, holy smokes. I said, I stopped in the exact same spot each day, I said, right? To view. Right?
Right.
And so then I realized something's not right. This is making a direct beeline towards me, right? Because it was visible every time where I stopped, right? And it looked like it was making a direct beeline, 290, then 30 feet. Do you understand?
Oh, yes.
Right. It was getting closer, but it wasn't zigzagging or anything. It was making like a straight line towards me.
Okay.
Getting closer. Okay. So this time I realized, okay, this thing is planning an attack, right? As soon as I got off, I was straddling my bike. I slid the bike forward, right, past my legs. So I'm now have the bike. I'm standing beside the bike. I have the bike to my right as a shield. Okay.
Okay.
I'm holding it tight, the handlebars, and I got it right beside me to the right as a shield. I'm standing beside. I did that really quick. Okay, as fast as I could.
Okay.
Without freaking out in pain. When it realized that I knew that it was planning an attack, it started to growl at me. Okay? It never growled at me before that, okay?
Okay.
The 2 days I was viewing it, it started to growl at me. And it growled a few times and started to show its teeth at me. And it was growling and showing its teeth. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I grabbed the bike and I switched hands. I put the one in my left on the left handlebar and my right on the seat. So if it decides to come forward or jump or whatever, I'm going to use that as a shield to knock it away from me or whatever. I don't have no weapons. I have no gun. I now carry gun. I don't have no knife. Nothing. Okay. Each day, I never came armed or nothing. Each day. Okay. Up here we have gun laws and all that crap. We're not allowed to carry handguns like you guys are in the States.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Right. So I said, I had my bike ready to be used as a shield if it came, and I'm like, I know, and I was worried about its being clawed or something like that,
Oh, yeah.
Best I could do is try and pin the thing or something, or knock it away from me, or trying to pin it or something. I was thinking, as it's growling and showing its teeth to me a few times there, whatever, like low growls, but like not really loud growls, just low growls, and so I walk my bike as a shield and looking towards it. It's about 12 feet on the trail, right? Heading towards the clearing, right?
It's 12 feet. It's 12 feet away?
To the clearing of the park.
Oh, to
right?
the clearing. Okay, gotcha.
Right, off the hard, the difficult part of the trail.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
It's inside the wooded area, okay?
Okay.
So I'm watching it, and then panic sets in. There's the last 4 feet or 5 feet there's a 90-degree turn, out into the clearing, and I lose sight of the thing, as I go around the curve, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I panic, I think it's going to attack me. It's going to attack me. Well, I make it to the clearing. I'm not attacked. So, but because I heard it growling still as I'm turning. All of a sudden, I hit the clearing. I make it 10 feet away from the trail, right?
Okay.
Right? From the thing, from the wooded lot, from the woods.
Okay.
All of a sudden, I'm looking towards the pathway. And my goal is to get to the pathway and get the heck out of there as fast as I can without running. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I knew not to run. Okay, that was really important. I knew not to run at any time, or try to run or whatever. Right? I wouldn't be able to run very far because of my due to the pain and stuff. So what happened was, like I said, I made it about 10 feet. I'm looking towards the trail. I see two guys coming down the trail, the pathway, with a 10-speed bike. With 10-speed bikes they had. They didn't have mountain bikes. I'm thinking, why are they bringing these bikes here? They're going to, it's a mountain bike course.
Yeah.
Right? So, anyways, they're about halfway on the pathway, walking down that rocky pathway. So, boulder strewn pathway, So, all of a sudden, right in front of me, about 10 feet away, I'm hit by a massive howl, but there's nothing in front of me. I don't see anything in front of me. I left the creature just behind me. Now, I was watching, I turned, listened, was listening to see if it would turn around, right, come around, flank me or anything. But that didn't happen. What I got hit was some infrasound by a very super loud, intense wolf howl. With like a sustained wolf howl, right? But there was nothing in front of me, like the 50 feet, 75 feet to the cliff face and to the path. So, like I said, I got hit by this super intense wolf howl with the infrasound, and there's nothing in front of me. Okay, I just couldn't explain that. I'm looking. There's nothing. No creature in front of me.
Okay.
Okay. So, I felt like, like in the cartoons where, they blast you with a big foghorn and your hair is blowing back and all that. That's what it felt like to me. Okay?
Wow.
To my body, yeah. And I said, wow, that was intense. And then I try and shake that off and make my way slowly to the pathway, right? As these guys are coming down. Right? They whatever.
Okay.
Then it happens again. These guys pass me, right? They get about 15, 20 feet away from me, and we're hit again in the pathway, which had a wall, cliff wall on one side. I remember about 10, 12 feet high at the start. I thought like the thing was going to come, something was going to come running and jump off the wall there, but nothing happened. But we got hit. They got the brunt of it. The second time, I got hit a bit, but they took the brunt of it, of the second infrasound hit, right? Yes. Okay. And then they said, wait, Fred, wait up. Wait up. They said, can we walk with you? And I'm thinking, oh my God, right? They're going to, I'm thinking they're going to try and push me down or something.
Yeah.
To think up so they can get away. That's what crossed my mind.
Okay.
Right. But it just, the one guy looked really shaken up. Like he got the worst of it. Right. We were all hit again. And then, we make it through the end of the tunnel, the pathway, right?
Right.
Whatever, he said to his friend, I gotta go, whatever, you got this under control. He says to him, he goes, yeah, okay, I'm out of here, rides us 10 feet off, visibly shaken, okay. The other guy stayed and talked with me for about 20, 25 minutes, half an hour, I think, about half an hour, that, right, and And we only mentioned like the thing once or twice. Like wow, that was pretty intense. He says this and that thing back there. Yeah, I go yeah, it was right. They heard the wolf howl. I don't know if
and this was still in the afternoon.
They never seen the thing, but like I did,
Right.
But they heard it twice.
How loud of a howl was this? I mean, obviously, but
it was loud. It was, over 100 decibels, I would say.
Wow. So, did you?
It was super loud. I've heard wolf howls on, in person and also on shows and stuff and that. But this was super intense, loud, and it was, like I said, and it was sustained for about 10, 12 seconds after the initial howl.
Oh, wow.
Right? And that, like I said, I felt like I was being blasted by a foghorn.
Wow. Was there anything different?
And this was out in the open, okay? Open. There was in the open parkland.
Amazing. That's incredible. I said that's incredible.
Yeah, but I could never see anything, other than the creature I seen. But like I said, I left that behind me, and I said, there's no way it had enough time to get around and flank me and hit me with the infrasound, because I didn't see it come out of the woods. So something else, like I said, I always sensed the second one watching me. So I could not explain that part. I mean, I was out in the open. There was nothing around me for 50 feet, other than the behind me, 12, about 10 feet behind me, the small little section there, and then the deeper part, whatever, when I came out, and I looked, and I didn't see anything. I would have seen it come out and heard it. I didn't hear it come out. So I couldn't explain that.
That's strange.
That is, and I cannot explain it to this day how it did that.
So, did you ever tell your friends when you were back, and you went back to stay with them?
No, I never told them. No. The only time I planned to tell them was the first time it happened, when I seen it on that Tuesday. But like I said, after I decided not to, for whatever reason. I had my own reasons. Dealing with other encounters in childhood and stuff.
Right. So
like I said, I wanted to tell them the first, but like I said, after I realized I was lucky not to tell them for some, for whatever reason, they weren't the right people to tell.
Sure, and that's a good point. Sometimes people aren't. I mean, you'd like to, but you just, for whatever reasons, you either know the personality or know what their reply is going to be, and you just don't feel like wasting that energy.
It's like when the first time when I was a kid and I had seen, something, a dwarf come out of a portal, and I had told someone, and a friend who went and told his older brother, who was a bully, and then I got beat up for that, so severely. That. So, like, when you first see something, you have that initial I gotta. You want to tell someone,
Yeah.
When that feeling goes away and your senses come back to you, then when I woke up and I said, "Whoa, man! Thank God I didn't tell anyone." It was like, the spur of the moment thing. And sometimes you really have to think about it. And I was just excited. I wanted to tell, what, maybe get, what's going on here,
Yeah.
Remember, I didn't know too much about this place. But, I wanted to find, if they knew anything about it. Afterwards, I met someone. But, back then, people wouldn't talk about ghosts. They wouldn't even mention ghosts. They wouldn't mention any kind of creatures or Bigfoot. They would hint at things, but they didn't want to talk about it. Do you understand?
Right. Yes.
Right. Just like 25 years ago, it was hard to get people to talk about stuff.
Of course. Yeah. Well,
not like it's today.
Right. Well, there's a lot more we know today, and there's internet has connected so many people all across the planet And so people are actually finding out there's people that want to know, and we take this seriously. I take what I do very seriously. And so I have a couple more questions here regarding everything that you talked about. So this location is west of Toronto, Oak Hill, and it was near a rock quarries where this mountain bike trail was at.
Yes, I'm trying to find it on. Like I said, after the Thursday there when that all happened, I never went back. Okay, I never went back, even though I was still in the town for another month or so. I never went back to that. I figure I was lucky to get out of there alive. So.
Oh yeah, and this was. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, how many years ago? How long ago was this?
That was 1997.
1997.
Oh, June 1997, around there.
Now, when you were looking at this creature coming up, running on these rocks, and you said it was running really fast.
Yeah.
Did it have dog hawk reverse legs, or did it have like man?
No, it didn't. It didn't. It had human-like legs.
Oh, really?
It didn't have the dog hunch legs. It had human-like. I thought it was a vagrant, like a hobo, a vagrant, running towards me.
Yeah.
Right? That's what freaked me out till I seen the head. Okay, and this is daylight. This is nighttime. This is daylight. Right? So,
right.
Right. No, reversed haunches, whatever,
And no tail that you could tell either.
Pardon me?
No tail that you could see.
No, I didn't see no tail. Even when it turned, I didn't see a tail that I can remember about,
Right.
But I said, the strange thing is it looked like clothes at first, right? Now, I'm wondering, I was able to see the head clearly, and the arms were just dangling. They weren't swinging. They were just dangling as it ran, about 20, 25 miles an hour at least, right?
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because that is a common feature that people, when they see these dogman-like creatures or these wolf-like creatures, that's a common feature. Their arms are either in a bent position or down by their side, and they're not cycling like a man would in a running gait. Like, right back foot, left front hand forward. Can we do that to keep our running gaits balanced?
Yes.
So
when I run, mine swing, okay, my arm.
Yeah, most men.
I found that strange. It was straight down, a couple inches off its side,
Yeah.
But just dangling there. It didn't move forward or backward. It stood. They were both in that right by its side,
Yeah.
Both arms.
Yeah, and with Wiley Dave, when he saw his, he said the left hand, its arm was kind of semi-bent, and it was out front, like it was pushing, like it looked like it was pushing something, but there was nothing there. And its right hand was in a semi-bent position, but it was down by its kind of, it was bent at a 90 degrees, but it was kind of down by its side a little bit, and it never swung its arms.
Right.
But the one he saw had a tail about 4 or 5 feet long, and it was stuck straight out like a 2x4.
Yeah, I would have seen that. I would have remembered. No, unless it had a small. I don't know. I didn't see no tail that I could offhand. I've been trying to think of that for a long time. If I seen a tail or not. If it was just hanging down low beside the body, I don't know. And blended in. I'm not. I don't think I did though. But like I said, it didn't have the dog legs. It had human-like legs.
That's
right.
strange. And its demeanor, as far as its, let's back up. Its face structure again looked more like a husky. You said there was no humanistic features.
Oh no, it was complete wolf dog wolf face. Like wolf face, not dog, but actually wolf face.
Okay.
It looked like a wolf. Okay, with the ears pinned back. On the side, but it's 100% wolf face.
Wolf face, okay. That bag. What's your perception of this bag or garment? This whatever it was carrying. I mean, do you think it was a skin of an animal or something that was draped over its arm?
No, it was holding it like in its hand, like like the hands curled and holding a bag. That like you're shopping, with a bag.
Right.
Yes, I found that strange.
That is very strange.
Holding a bag. Yeah, on that one day, it was on Wednesday. It was holding this bag. The bag was about at least 2 feet long, okay, and about 2 feet deep, sort of a whitish type color. I couldn't tell. It looked like plastic. It might have been something else. I couldn't tell. So, like I said, it was from the at least 90 feet away there, so I couldn't really tell.
Did it have this bag in its hand as it was running up the rocks that first day?
No, it had nothing. Like I said, its hands were straight down. They weren't curled up or anything. When it ran towards me, I could see its hands and its nails, its fingers, right? They had human-like hands, but the nails, like I said, the nails were about 2 inches long at least, and came to a point.
Okay.
I was able to see that part, and I was able, I tried to see the feet. I couldn't tell. Like I said, the feet were, the way it ran, it looked almost human-like feet, but not quite. I didn't get a good look at the feet, but I did, everything, like I said, it had, like, human-like legs, but they were covered in fur.
Wow.
And it was lanky, like I said, it was about 6 foot to 6'2", and no more than 200 pounds, 175 pounds maybe, something like that.
Really? That's not very big compared to some of the sightings.
Yes, that's why, right? Yes, I was bigger than it was. Like I said, at 6 foot 250, I was a formidable, opponent.
You're right.
It had to think twice about attacking me because I was a big dude, but I was also wounded internally,
Yeah.
So it knew that, like a wounded animal, right? But
so if it was someone else, in your opinion, that was, say, 110-pound guy or a lady, let's just say a lady, what do you think? Do you think it would have attacked for sure?
Oh, for sure. For sure. It would have subdued him very easily. Even myself, I was worried big time, even though I'm a big guy, have some, martial arts training and stuff like that, weightlifting, all that stuff. I was worried for my life, man. I know curiosity got the better. Like I said, I had previous encounters, and I believed in live and let live, but like when I realized it was actually making a play to attack me, it was, at the end there, that changed everything. And even I wonder why it decided to come so close towards me, right?
I think it was, anything that, these creatures are very highly intelligent in the fact that we still don't know exactly what they're thinking, but it's in their actions that we learn and study. And It's almost like it was every day seeing what you would do if you get a little bit closer. Is he going to take off, or is he going to pull a knife or a gun? I think they understand the weapons we have, and it was probably, I can't jump into its mind here, so, I have no proof of what I'm going to say. But based on other episodes, it's almost like they're testing, and it's kind of the same thing with these creatures sometimes that are tapping on windows. Why do they even do that? I think they're testing, are you going to come outside? How many of you are going to come out? I think they're hearing
your movement. Which way are you going? Which way are you moving? Are you moving towards the front door, the back door? Where are you going? They can sense your movement in the house.
Yes, wherever. I think so. And I think that's what they do. I think that's what they do. And they learn from that.
Yes. Like I said, I had already stopped once and we're, checking each other out. Okay? at that roughly that 30-foot mark where it was it was crouched below, crouched behind the shrub. Okay, but only its head and a bit of its neck area was visible. It was hiding its whole body. I could see it crouched down, whatever. And it was purposely hiding its feet and its hands from me. Okay, I wanted to have a better look on its feet, and I couldn't do that. It was purposely hidden, right? And it wasn't until the second pass there at that 30-foot mark when I realized when I seen my footprints in the sand, in the dirt there, that I had stopped there like each day at the same spot, that it was making a beeline towards me. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Right? When I looked down, first thing when I got there, all of a sudden I just happened to notice my footprints on the second time when I made it around at that 30-foot mark, where it was at the 30-foot mark, that there's my 3 days of footprints there, and I looked around. I always stood at the same spot where I had a clear view of it in the back, right? And I realized I'm not standing anywhere else to get a better view. I'm always standing right here. Okay, I always stop. I noticed I always stopped right there, so it was a direct view. So it was getting closer. Like I said, it didn't, move 20 feet over this way or 10 feet over that way. It was in a direct line towards me. Each day, getting closer and closer, sizing me up.
Sure. It was. I think that's exactly what it was doing. It was sizing you up. So,
right.
So with all this, and you've had some other encounters, we may have to do the other encounters on a part 2 if you don't mind. But I tell you what, tell me a little bit about, now that's been since 97.
97, yes.
Have you told a lot of people since that time? And if so, what did they say?
I've had one guy before do, I wrote it out, whatever, and he told it on his, story, Jeff there, Dogman Encounters.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Vic?
So, pardon me?
Vic?
No, Jeff Nadolny there.
Oh, okay.
But it's okay. You can do whatever,
Sure.
Right? But when I tried to do the live interview, right, after that, tell whatever, I had a major anxiety attack because I was like, first time I got to talk about, and I had unfortunately placed myself at the scene and relived the getting hit with the infrasound.
Okay.
Right? And I hadn't had anyone to talk to about it since, 25 years since then,
Wow.
23 years. So, who can you talk to?
Well, that's just it. It's really hard to find someone because, logically, you think, you just kind of go down the list. Well, I really can't talk to a police officer because there was no crime committed. I didn't get anything stolen.
There was no calling the cops, that day.
Yeah, exactly. You're out in the middle of nowhere.
I have long hair. I had long hair and that. No, it was just not happening.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if we just think, and then you think, I'll tell a pastor, a preacher. They wouldn't get it. So there's just very few people, unless you've had your own experiences, that really understand not only the existence of these creatures, but the true fear and anxiety. And of course, if that reaches another level, we call that PTSD, in which you have sleepless nights, you can't sleep deep, you have triggers that whether you're out in the countryside and you look at a bush, and if it's roughly the same size of bush, and then you have a trigger back to that wolf behind the bush, or you see a mountain bike or whatever, those can be triggers that whatever is in the subconscious and conscious mind, you don't know exactly what you're going to emphasize on, at any time. But there's a lot of people that have these triggers, and being that you saw it multiple days, that's kind of a rarity.
It is. Like I said, I'm a curious type personality. So, but like most people would have fled the first when it turned and made and that creature veered off and headed towards when it seen the size of me, right, and realized I was a lot bigger than it. I think it heard I was making like audible pain noises, like a wounded animal.
See, that's what I wondered
I didn't
too.
think there was anyone there. There was nobody there, I said, so, I was like, oh, ooh, like, oh, that hurt, man. That missing the tire going 4 inches off the ramp there, hitting the ground. I was keeled over in pain, almost in tears. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because, my buddy, Wiley Dave, he made a predator call that was a deeper, it had like 2 frequencies within one, and it made the overall frequency a deeper, even though it sounds high-pitched, it sounds like a larger animal in distress. And it's kind of the premise, like if you want to catch a bigger fish, you use a bigger hook or a bigger bait, right? So it's kind of the same thing that Wiley did when he made this call, and it was actually by accident, but he used it out in western Oklahoma, and the first time he used it, he called up this Dogman creature. So with you, in this, this pain, and it was a real pain, obviously. It wasn't anything made up. And so I'm sure there was some level of injury, and that's what, there's a huge canine instinct or a predator.
Like in a dinner bell.
Exactly. It's more of a predator instinct when they hear something wounded. It's Golden Corral time. It's getting ready to come in and check out the smorgasbord. So it didn't really know what it was, but that is really, really fascinating that your pain may have brought this in, and its ears were, that's interesting that its ears were kind of back the whole time.
Right.
When you saw it, when it was showing its teeth, did you see any saliva or anything like that by chance? Or is it just...
No, I didn't see any saliva, but I just seen him, growling, and it didn't open its mouth full, let's say about a third of the way open only, just enough to show its teeth, upper and lower teeth, like how a dog, without bark, no large or whatever, just a low growl, and it just, like pulling its, the flap back on the jaw,
Yeah.
It's just enough to show its teeth,
And the size of its head.
Pull up growl, but enough to just show its teeth that it's angry with me, that I figured out, I'm foiling the attack here. I know what it's doing. It got upset with me that I figured it out.
It sounds, now the size of its head, would you say it's the size of a normal Canadian wolf head, or it was bigger?
I was just looking at some pictures today, right? For some reason, it was about the regular size of a, Canada wolf, right?
Okay.
Most of the stories you hear that this has these big blocky heads. No, this is more like the regular Canadian size and almost a bit smaller,
I wonder if it wasn't, it was not having a tail and not having the reverse dog hawks. You just wonder if it was a different type of predator, Dogman type predator, and not being very big. Could it be a younger one, like an adolescent? It's possible, but
I thought it might have been like a teenager.
It's possible, but usually they have, most of the ones that I've heard have tails and reverse dog hawks. So this is totally different. This might be a different type or
right.
Yeah. So did your friends that you stay with at all, did you ever hear of anyone else having any unusual encounters in that area or read?
A couple weeks later, whatever, a month later, this one guy in the neighborhood was one night says, was hinting at you shouldn't be out past midnight. And I said, why? And he wouldn't say. He was hinting at something, that some kind of legend or something, but he wouldn't talk about it. I'm not a local from that town, but he wouldn't say what it was. And and I wouldn't tell him either what I experienced already. So I didn't know this guy. I was with my friend who I was staying with, and just happened to whatever he meant to bring this up. He looked sort of terrified.
Yeah.
Said you shouldn't be out riding around after midnight. I just didn't understand why. If he meant like police or something else, I don't know. He didn't say.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes people.
I don't want to speculate on that. That he did look sort of terrified about something, but
sometimes people speak in code.
Yeah, he just wouldn't tell me because he didn't know me or whatever. Maybe he didn't want to be ridiculed himself or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I never. First time I seen the guy, never seen him again. My friend knew him, but neither one would say what it was. So, like I said, people wouldn't talk about ghosts or anything like Bigfoot or anything like that. A lot of people.
Yeah, right? They typically don't. It's taboo in a lot of places. But
I regret not asking him. I regret not asking him. I wish. Afterwards, I thought about it. Like I said, I didn't know who he was, so I didn't really want to mention what I had seen. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I didn't trust the guy to mention that. Trust is a big issue.
It is, and that's the reason why I try to tell people, be careful who you share with, even if it's family or friends, because it's if you hope no one ever has their own experience, but that's really, even though each experience is going to be different, that's the only way someone can truly understand. Number one, that these creatures exist. Number two, that they can't harm you. They're not a pet. And, getting back to the gentleman that you saw, you got a weird vibe from.
Right.
Was it the guys that you saw at the very end on Thursday? Was that the same two guys?
No. Okay, the guy. Okay. Hold on. No. All right, hold on. The guys that built that course. No. I never seen them again.
Oh, okay.
Right. The one guy, he was cool, but the one guy, he gave me just a weird sensation. That's hard to explain, but like I sensed something strange about him, but I couldn't tell what it was at that time.
Okay.
But I noticed there was something. I have a kind of psychic ability. I could tell there. When it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Since like a little kid. Ghost encounters, all kinds of strange stuff.
Yeah. And I definitely want to get into that, if you don't mind. Next week, I can call you again about the same time, if that's okay for you. And I want to get your insight. I'm sure I'll develop some more questions from our talk here. But
sure, and if you can remember anything else, but I didn't have any notes in front of me today.
Oh, that's okay. So tell me, since this has occurred, how has your life changed? How often do you think about this moment? Realistically, I mean, it's been a long time, but tell me a little bit of how it's changed.
Time here and there, but the thing is, like I said, because I had a code blue, before I had the encounter, I always have to think about that part too, and that's part of the encounter.
Right.
Getting out, lucky to be alive.
Sure.
And then seeing this stuff,
Right.
It was weird, that all that, like the part I told you about the wound. It took me a long time, 10 years the last 10 years to finally figure it out that it was the wounded animal noises. I just couldn't figure out why this thing came running out of nowhere towards. Like I said, there was nobody in the park on that on the first time I seen the creature running towards me, and it was running on the beach at full out
in the afternoon.
Yes, in the afternoon. And there was nobody. Like I said, I wouldn't be making those loud, audible pain noises if I knew there was other people there.
Right.
I would have, tried to cover it up a bit, and just let it out lightly or whatever. But there was nobody there, so I'd let it full out, like, oh man, that hurt, like really loud. And I was in a lot of pain, like doubled over in tears. So I didn't realize, that was bringing some creature, whatever that thing was. I don't know. Like I said, I was wondering, if it was a werewolf or, I didn't know anything about werewolves.
Well, it's, a werewolf and a dogman and these canine predators are all just a fine line for the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I think. One dogman is, they're all the same.
It's all the same. They may look a little bit different on variations of color, eye color, and definitely size, aggressiveness. Unfortunately, I'm of the premise is that when you see one, there's another somewhere close by, if not others. They're very rarely by themselves.
Right.
And
that's what I said. I always got the sensation that there was another one watching me, up on the cliff face, but I could never see it. I tried so hard. Like every day that I was there, I scoured that cliff face, multiple times, up close and from a, further back. Every nook and cranny along there looking for something. I knew there was something up there. I just could not see it.
Well, predators are interesting because they like high advantage points. It's in their DNA. They like to get up high if they can. Even coyotes, like out here in Oklahoma, they like to, if they can't see when they're on the plains and they're trying to get higher than the sagebrush, they'll bounce up in the air as they're running so they can see, get a vantage point. Mountain lions are no different. They'll climb in trees to get vantage points and or get higher on rocks. They like to stand on rocks, where wolves are no different. They'll be on a rock to get a higher vantage point of the prey, and they'll get on cliffs and rocks, and so they can have a higher vantage point to look. It's instinctive. So if you're, instinctively, there was probably one up there. Yeah, I mean,
I had a strong premonition that there was something up there. I just could never find it or see it. Right.
So
like climb up there, and I didn't have any binoculars or anything like that with me, so so that would have helped to check it out. Like I said, I didn't have anyone. I wasn't going back there another day. I was terrified after that.
Yeah. So you haven't been back since.
Pardon me?
You haven't been back since.
Yes.
Do you ever go back in the woods and mountain bike or anything today?
Yeah, I've been in the woods, but not deep woods. Like I said, this was a parkette right on Lake Ontario. The lake was right there. I was facing the lake. The lake was right there.
Yeah.
Lake Ontario. We're right on the edge of the lake.
Right.
So like I said, it was like where the creature came running out of. It was like a point, sort of. It was like, and I just put about a 6-foot beachhead there full of rocks, Like I said, I couldn't believe this thing was already running full out on these rocks for the short distance till it hit the park, the grassland, the grassy area,
Right. Well, it was in many ways.
It did change speed. Like what I'm trying to say is, even though it ran on the rocks, right? Me and you couldn't do that, okay? Without tripping or breaking our necks or something, And even though it hit the grassland and was making a beeline towards me, it didn't change speed. It didn't speed up. It stayed the same speed. Okay?
Wow.
Right, yeah. Just because it hit the grass, the flat land there, the grass, and for a distance, it still maintained the same speed. Right? Didn't go faster, didn't go slower. It was still about 20, 25 miles an hour, I estimated it.
Incredible. Well, there's no escaping it. If it wants to chase you, there's no escape.
But like I said, I thought it was trying to flank me because I was hunched over on my bike, trying to get behind me. But as soon as I stood up tall, and sort of spread my, I seen it right towards me. I was hunched over. And I said, "What the hell? What the heck is that?" Pardon me.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Right. I stood up and and tried to make myself look as big as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. Chest puffed out, whatever, our shoulders out. Trying to make myself look big. Right.
Right.
And because I said I was about the same height. So, but I was wider than it was. Like I had a muscular type frame.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. I'm just wearing my shirt, but it seemed my size as a formidable prey or a formidable opponent. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because of size, right? I was 250. Okay, and I was wider than it was.
Yeah.
Right? So, like I said, it was lanky. So I figured it was either a teenager or a young adult. It had a smaller head. Okay, than like a regular Canadian wolf.
Yeah. Yeah.
Slightly smaller, like I said, with the ears more tapered on the side, tapered back. Like
that's fascinating.
Streamlined, like I said, more like a husky type head. But wolf.
Right. Well, let's do this. Let's go ahead and schedule for next week at this time, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then what I want to do is I'll pick up from this. And then we'll go into the other encounters that you've had when you were younger.
Okay.
Because I would like to learn more, and I'll have some more questions regarding this here. And
sure.
And
but I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you, Lance, one thing. When I got hit with that infrasound, right? Like I said, it was just the initial blast, and then it was sustained at a higher frequency. Okay, it's like it switched to a higher level after the blast. Okay,
right.
And it was sustained for like about 10 seconds more after. And I'm telling you, it seemed like it was going to go on forever. I couldn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's interesting.
It was a full wolf out, like you go into a rock concert, or something. That's how loud it was.
Wow.
Right.
Wow,
and
that's incredible.
The guys walking through the pathway, they heard it loud and clear, and they were blown away. They see me getting hit by this thing, and it did. It felt like something was blowing my hair, my body, like air was blowing past me while this was happening. That's what it felt like. It felt like like my guts were going to get churned or something, but it didn't happen. Like it felt like I got hit internally and externally. Like, I already had problems inside, but somehow it was strange, but my inside felt better after for some reason, right? Just externally I felt blown away, man, but internally I should have been hunched, keeled over and on the ground in pain, but it didn't happen. I don't know why. And then it said when it was the second howl, just as intense, the one guy, he was like visibly shaken, like he got the brunt of it. They were like about 10 feet. They had passed me on the pathway, and they were about 10, 15 feet past me when it happened again.
Yeah.
So they stopped and said, "Wait up."
Yeah, I would too.
Right.
That's interesting.
But, you all got hit again. Like I said, I felt it again the second time, but like they took the brunt of it. Okay. But I still felt it again the second time. That's how loud and intense it was. Like the same thing, the foghorn effect. I don't know if you've ever heard that before.
Yeah, I've heard it. I have. That's pretty terrifying, actually, that close. And, what gets me is this is not a nighttime encounter, sighting. You saw this right up close.
Yes. And also, like I said, with that infrasound thing and the howl, there was nothing, like I said, 50 feet radius, there was nothing in front of me. Between the woods and to whatever, all in front of me, to the cliff face, to the pathway, there was nothing in front of me to get hit. Like this thing, it felt like it was coming from 10 feet away, but there was absolutely nothing, there. I didn't see anything. I didn't even see like a cloaked entity or anything. It was nothing there. I'm thinking,
Strange. That's very strange.
I'm trying to figure if it came from the cliff face. Like, how could they protect it that far?
Yeah, I mean, unless there was some reverberation back from that cliff that hit you from the front.
Like, it hit me directly in front of me, my face. I left the creature behind me. It was, in back of me.
But if it
had to do a complete, 180 to come around and hit me, right? But I looked, I turned and looked, and was listening to see if it was coming out of the bush, which I never did hear. It as far as I was concerned, it was still back there in the bush, in the tree line, right? I don't know where. Like I said, and I had witnesses who've seen this. Okay.
Right.
And it was just remarkable how they just showed up in time when I got hit by the infrasound. That they were able to witness it, and also got hit themselves by the infrasound.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
They told me their names. It's so long. I can't even remember what their names are. But whether it was their real names or not, I don't know.
Right. Well, you won't. Right. They won't forget it. I can assure you.
The guy stayed to talk with me about half an hour after we talked at the top of the. We moved off the pathway about 10 feet where the little dead end street was there, right before you got to the major street. So we sat, with our bikes there. We sat there, and he stood there and he talked to me for about half an hour.
Yeah.
Sure, I was okay and all that.
Well, that was nice. Absolutely.
Oh wow, man, you got hit big time.
Well, I definitely want to, and will call you back because I want to learn more here, and I'll have a bit more questions here. My film's about ready to run out here, and so I want to thank you so much, and sincerely calling. And then let's see, if we do this in a week, we're talking on the 29th.
Yeah, that's not a problem. And Friday night?
Yes. We'll do Friday at the same, about 8 p.m.
Yes, sounds great.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And I can't wait to talk with you again, and I'll have some follow-up questions from this here.
That's great. I'm try and remember some more points and, maybe write some stuff down.
Yes, absolutely. And I can't thank you enough. I know it takes a lot of courage to share this, and because I learn every time.
For the past couple years, I've gone through a list of, people, shows, and stuff to try whatever, and I've had to check off a lot of people that, you thought about, and then no. And I've liked what you've done and talked about some really good stuff on your shows.
Thank you.
That helped me out myself,
Well, good. That's what we're trying to do. We're really trying to help those people that have seen, and you're not crazy.
Not easy to do either.
No, it's not. It's a lot
energy and courage to step forward.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just it. It's some people know they're going to have to relive it if they tell it. So sometimes I don't want to retell it because therefore it's too uncomfortable. And I totally understand. It's fearful to do it. So that's why I say it takes courage even after the fact. So thank you so much. And I hope just discussing, talking about it again helps you just a little bit more.
One last thing is, I always thought it might be a shapeshift, but at no time did the head ever change shape, or the human, or it stayed the same.
Right.
Wolf-like. So it wasn't a shapeshifter.
Okay. Well,
if you were ever wondering about something.
Yeah, I was curious. I'm sure I was going to formulate some questions on that, but I'll take that into consideration for sure. Okay, well, I'm about to run out here, so I tell you what, let's plan on next Friday at the same time.
Okay, sounds great, Lance.
Okay, you have a great evening. You bet. Have a great evening. All right. Bye-bye. So, with this here, it's quite interesting. My tape is getting run out here, so we'll follow up with part two, part two with him. And there's a lot of things. This is unusual. here we had this Dogman type creature on two legs running, he said somewhere around 25 miles an hour on this rocky shore that's very dangerous to do, and it had no problem agility-wise and speed-wise to do so. Had no tail, had more man legs, and instead of a claw, like you hear this raccoon hand, it actually had a nail that was like spaded. Like you would see, I know exactly what he's talking about. You see this spaded nail when you see these vampire movies and some of the werewolf movies. It's kind of a spaded fingernail where it goes up like this. So that's terrifying. And the closeness and this holding of a bag, or I don't know, it's really strange. What I can't make heads or tails what that is. But I think it was really just testing how close each day. How close can I get? Is he going to pull a knife? Is he going to pull a gun? How close is he going to let me get? If he's going to let me get close, then I'm just going to attack him, you know? So heaven forbid if this would have been anyone else smaller. You know, if this would have been a child or a lady, I can't even imagine, or someone, a senior. This would have been terrifying. This would have been not a good situation. This is why I say pack something for protection. Even if the laws are that you can't pack heat, okay. But at least pack a knife, a fixed knife, something that you can, protect yourself. That's why I say you never know. Plan for the unexpected. Even on a mountain bike, it doesn't matter. Hiking, biking, canoeing, kayaking, it doesn't matter. Plan for the unexpected. You never know something like this. He didn't plan on this to happen. And, of course, he didn't get any pictures of it because who is ready for something like this? No one. So I'm going to formulate some questions for him, more so next time. I'll have a lot more time to ask questions. And but I just want to ponder this tonight and kind of go over a couple things, and then we'll hook back with him next Friday. In the meantime, guys, I hope you learned something. Stay safe out there. And, if any of you out there have had an experience, and just like he said, it takes a lot of courage. It took a lot of courage on his part to share. And he's going through the list of the shows, no. Yeah. So I'm very honored. I feel very blessed and privileged to have someone like this gentleman choose us to be able to share what he did. And I hope in some way just talking about it will help him. So next I'm going to see just how I asked if he's still reliving some of this, and we kind of got off on a tangent there, so we didn't really focus in on that, which we will next time. He obviously thinks about it, or he wouldn't talk as detailed as he did. So he thinks of it often. I mean, I can tell, I can hear it in his voice. He thinks of it often. He goes through all the details. So, these incidences, these events, these horrifying moments never escape your mind. They're always there. And a lot of these people have problems sleeping, and there's triggers. I bet you he has triggers that it has, whether it's on a hiking trail with a bunch of people, or mountain bikes, or bushes, or dogs, huskies. Who knows? I mean, who knows what the triggers are? But I'm sure he suffered some post-traumatic stress after this. I'm sure he did for a long time. Guys, I appreciate you listening this evening. I hope you learned something. In the meantime, stay safe out there. God bless. This is Lance with Monster 911. Take care.